Hey, what's up, guys? I wanted to do an update because this is a very important one and one that I was being careful to try to avoid. And I made videos in the past which somebody asked me about EQ, and the major reason why I didn't want to take equipoise was the major increase that it could have on blood pressure. And that's something I wanted to avoid, and that's why I picked the compounds that I'm taking now, which is testosterone, Primobolan, and HGH. And I know some of you listening might be like, oh, yeah, well, that will increase it too. And yeah, I kind of knew that. But what I wanted to do in a risk versus reward approach was take compounds that where there was the least amount of risks. And what I did do was increased over time to a certain point. For example, in the past, I increased my testosterone to a point where I started noticing estrogenic effects. And at that point, I introduced the Primobolan, and since then, since I've matched it on a 1-to-1 ratio, the estrogenic effects, I believe, are non-existent, or at least cut down like 90%. And I didn't even have that many to begin with, but since now where I've titrated the doses of the two up to 450 each a week and introducing the HGH this week, I noticed all the tall tale signs of high blood pressure. And I know because something I've studied pathology and things like this, and I know the warning signs of that, which are dizziness, shortness of breath, chest pains, lack of energy in certain regards, headaches, just feeling uneasy, all these things. And for example, I have a puppy, and I was cleaning his shit, and I bent over and I got up. I was feeling dizzy. Oh my god, like almost was gonna faint, almost. Not even exaggerating. The other thing is headaches I've had in the last week since I've upped the dose and matched the dose, which is behind my eyeballs. It's like tightness behind them, and it's something I've experienced in the past before. Usually I attribute it to dehydration, but or migraines, but it's different than migraines. I believe it's more of what's known as like a cluster headache. And what brings it on harder is if I'm doing something where I'm exerting myself. So doing something that is like adrenaline, a sport, or you know what I mean, pushing myself, and even sneezing, things like that, like a tightness, it can trigger things like this. But I've noticed that, and also when I'm doing, like today, I was doing bicep curls, and it was just like I was getting out of breath doing them. So all these things, but not just that. So that's the warning signs. What I have been doing on top of that is at my gym there's a blood pressure machine, one where you stick your arm and you push a button, it goes bzzz, doo, 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 and then it slowly releases. I do those in the past pretty much every time I'm in a pharmacy or a Walmart where I see one of those. I do them just out of my own interest of where I'm at, because I want to monitor these levels at my age. Something I think everybody should do. But I've been doing it more regularly, and because of this gym I'm at, and I've noticed it went from 120 over 80, which is normal range. It went up to 150 over 90 on average over a period of days. When I first get to the gym, it's before any activity I do it, and then I also do it afterwards, and usually it's around the same, which is concerning. You know, if you were doing activities like you were maxing out your squats or something, or like going high reps, volume training, you know, your blood pressure could go very high, like within quote dangerous range, but it's not dangerous because it's only during that period of time. What you have to worry about is this when it becomes chronic, when it becomes over a period of time where you're having high blood pressure in the when is within the high range. Now, what is that? Usually it's 130 over 80, it starts to become high. But like what's considered like stage 1 high blood pressure is around the 140, 150. Then like above 160, you might get like stage 2. And then if it was over 180, 100, like that's what is concerning even for like old people. And if I, like at my age, 40 years old, if I continue down that path of my blood pressure being 150 over 90, then by the time I'm like 6 years old, my cardiovascular health is going to be very shit, if not lethal. Because high blood pressure is known as the silent killer for a reason, which is you'll have high blood pressure for a while, and you won't know until it's too late, where you actually have a warning sign, which is essentially heart failure is the major one. There's left ventricular hypertrophy and kind of fibrosis that might happen of your left ventricle, which pushes the blood out through your system. And when that hardens, or that becomes more like muscular or thick, then it throws everything out of whack. And there's a few causes which could cause all this: poor health, obesity, alcoholism, cigarettes, drugs, and also pharmaceutical drugs of all types. And what I believe is happening with the compounds I'm taking that's causing it is it's affecting the RAS system, the renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. Okay, it's a hormonal system within the body that is like a relationship between the kidneys and your heart and lungs that maintains blood pressure in the body. And that's what I've deduced that is going on here. There's a direct effect on this system, which is like one of the most vital systems. It's like controls the volume of blood in your body and the way it's being pushed through your system, through like vasoconstriction of your blood vessels, which are little muscles in themselves. And but the implications of this is not just within the cardiovascular system. It could have some more holistic other problems as well, which you need to get into control one way or another. So yeah, you need to get all anything cardiovascular under control. Anything when these types of things go out of whack. And the way I'm going to do this is through bringing down a notch the levels of hormones I'm taking for a week. And I was kind of debating this because the symptoms I'm facing might be temporary. It might just be the fact that my body's not used to it, and this is the body's natural reaction to it, to the increase of foreign substance within your body, which that is exactly what I experienced when I first started taking testosterone. Was like a testosterone flu. I got a reaction to it, and I got almost sick from it. So I'm thinking, on the one hand, if I just kind of kept on this level, my body might adapt, and in a week or two, might be better. But nonetheless, I'm still going to dial it back a little bit, because I just don't want it to maintain at the levels I'm at now that are interfering with my activity levels. What good is the things I'm taking if it's causing such high blood pressure and physiological effects where I'm getting dizzy and I can't even complete my exercise, right? So I'm going to dial it back probably from 450 each testosterone and Primobolan compound to about 350. So in total, that's bringing everything down 200 milligrams a week, which I think is a reasonable amount, because a lot of times in a TRT dose, that's pretty much what it is. So I'm bringing it down a TRT dose worth. And then let that kind of cruise for a week, so to speak. and then potentially bring it back up, and then potentially add Anavar to it. You know, maybe it's just the T dose that is a bit too high. I need to moderate that a bit. The Primobolan might be okay, matching it, but it's just that 450 T. It's my body's like not able to process it, or it's just overloading certain hormonal systems within the body due to kind of the chain reaction downstream effect that these types of things have. We all know that taking certain compounds can have certain effects such as water retention, which is fluid buildup, which has a direct effect on blood pressure as well. And certain things like just maybe like an adrenaline response within the system is something's heightened. That's a bit too much. That's what I'm sensing, and I'll leave it with this, which is it's these types of things that part of my whole experiment of doing and sharing with you guys to share this whole experience is I feel like being really in tune with your body and in tune with the fact that you're having these types of symptoms are the warning signs that it is to just dial it back a notch. And you can work within certain ranges that is pushing the limits, is still a risk, but it's not. You're mitigating the risks. You're not going totally where levels will be detrimental to your health and detrimental to your activities, because again, that would be counterproductive in why you're even doing it in the first place, right? So I'll leave it there, guys. I'm sure some of you listening might have some advice that you might want to share with me who have some experience, and please do down below. I also know that some things you can do to mitigate this is take blood pressure medication. That's not something that I would want to do, but I know it's a possibility. So yeah, leave in the comments below. What do you think about what I said? Is it valid, or do you have any recommendations or advice to me? Thank you for watching, guys. Peace.